What's up, guys? My name is Candy, previously Kit Kat, and happy Halloween to you all! If you've been keeping up with my latest videos, you'll know that I took up a challenge this month to create a picture for every day of October, showing you guys the many original characters that I've created. However, if you've watched my progress, you'd also know that it didn't exactly go as planned. I made it in total to 22 days, with the last 2 days being shown to you right now. So, because it's the end of Spooky Month, I thought for the final speed paint, I'd make it a bit special. I'll be taking the time to talk about the processes I usually went through, what my favorite picture was, what my least favorite picture was, and about my overall experiences with this challenge. Oh, and since it's Halloween, I'll be drawing 2 of my demon characters, cause demons are spooky, right? Yeah, we'll go with that. For my process, it was pretty much the same for all the pictures except the final piece I've made. It started off with my base sketch, and I used a small pen with a zoomed out canvas just to put down all the character details I could, while messing around with the anatomy of the bust. From there, I used the sketch to make an equally sketchy line art. This is a style of line art where I draw over the same line a couple times, so when you zoom in, the lines aren't smooth by any means, and have these rough edges to them. I'm really bad at explaining things, so just look at these screenshots. I'll circle what I mean. After line art, I go into the colors. You'll notice that with certain characters, I have their colors memorized in my palette to the left, while the others I did rely on references. Of all the characters I have made, there are those that I would draw non-stop for a large portion of my life, Cenarian, while there are those that have existed for some time, but either got redesigns, or I just don't draw them that much. After coloring, I move into my shading and lighting. I'm not too complex with my system here. When I shade, I use the same color for the cell shading and the gradient, and put them both on a multiply layer. Then I use a color on the same spectrum to do the lighting, and put the gradient cell shading on an add glow layer. The dots in the hair are just a stylistic choice to reflect a hair shine in the simplest way possible. Since I had planned on doing 30 of these bad boys, I didn't want to make a process that was overly difficult and hard to replicate. But now, which of these pieces did I like the best? And which did I think were the worst? We'll be going through that with the infamous top 3 system. Let's start off with the worst for now and then lead into the best. Please note that the following bits of commentary are my own thoughts on the pieces I created. If you don't agree with me and like the worst pieces, I don't mean you have bad taste or anything. It just means that in that specific piece, I did not think I really captured the character how I wanted to, or I did not put in the effort I think I should have. By no means do I think are any of these bad per se. They're all part of a learning experience. For my third worst, I think I'll have to give it to Valerie. I absolutely adore Valerie with every fiber of my being, but I know for a fact that I've drawn her better than I did here, and given the amount of times I've drawn her, I should have been able to create a better piece without really putting too much brain power into it. Valerie is a complicated character in the sense of she didn't originally start as my own, but I changed her so much and built her into something I could really be proud of. I love how her personality juxtaposes Cenarian's in such a way that it works well for the two to be together. I'm not saying I hate this piece, but I do think, of all the pieces I've done, and with how familiar I am with drawing her, I could have done her more justice here. For my second worst, I'm choosing Danielle. Danielle is probably my oldest original character, alongside the rest of her crew. She was made back when I was in elementary school, and I would say, of all the characters I've ever had, she's definitely changed the most from her original design as a Danny Phantom ripoff. When I redesigned her in the story I wanted to put her and her team in, I was really happy with the idea and the designs. However, looking back, I think Danielle's is the weakest when looking at the pictures I drew for the rest of her team. I wanted her to come off stronger, with more authority, and really show that she's not someone you could push around, but the expression and pose are just plain and boring to me. I definitely could have done better in this one and put a bit more effort to let Danielle really shine. Now for my least favorite, it's Scarlet. I cannot express to any of you how much I adore the story she takes place in. So much time and effort and care was put into that story that words cannot describe how amazing I think it is. And I really like Scarlet because of how complex she is as a person. However, this was drawn still in the midst of finalizing her personality in the script, transitioning her from a virtually emotionless and extremely logical character to a character that can express herself, but lacks the proper empathy to communicate well with others. When I look at this piece, I feel discouraged because she definitely looks evil, when I was going for a more numb look. In retrospect, I could have done so much more with her piece. I could have made it dynamic and interesting, showing off her sword skills somehow, and really expressing how calculating she is. I definitely think more effort could have been put in making this piece more interesting and eye-catching, something more suiting for how entertaining I think her character is. Alright, now that we've gotten past the worst, let's go through what I think are the best of my pieces for the month. In third, I'll have to give it to Zale. Zale participates in the same story as Scarlet, and words cannot express my love for her. I think I really did her character justice and illustrated what kind of person she was with this pose and expression. She can get excited easily, especially if a certain attractive blacksmith is involved, and it shows her childish nature. She can be immature and mischievous, however, and I think that shows in her cat-like personality. I think of the armor designs I've created for the story she's involved in, her design is one of my favorites because it fits her personality and abilities really well. I really, really love Zale, so pat on the back to me for this one. Oh, and Cat. She's a Neko, so Neko ears. In second place, I'll be giving the silver medal to Lucille. Lucille is probably my newest original character. I made him and the concept behind a story this year, actually, during the pandemic. It all started with wanting to bring back some old characters and concepts from one of Cenarian's stories that I wrote years ago. In case some of you don't follow me on DeviantArt, Cenarian used to be an Undertale OC with the power to create portals and travel to the various universes in the multiverse. For a cliché idea, there are some cool concepts behind it, and I wanted to try again at making a story for a character that could really go anywhere. The possibilities for universe jumping are truly endless, and that's where Lucille comes in. He's quirky, clumsy, and playful, and I think the pose and expression really fits how I envision his character. Also, I overall just really like how I designed him. I like the bangs and the braid and the purple colors with the yellow eyes. I don't think I've ever made a character with his color composition, but I love how he turned out. Now for the grand finale, my favorite piece of this month, the title goes to Dahlia. Dahlia goes hand in hand with Lucille, and I love the dynamic I created for them. I love this piece because I think it really shows Dahlia's personality in it. She's not the most expressive person as an empath, and most of her self-expression comes from simulating the emotions of others when she touches a person or object with her bare hands. She always wears gloves, however, to keep from doing this, but her lack of expression causes her to question herself more often than not. When she does end up feeling emotions that are her own, she second-guesses herself and pushes them away out of fear that she'll become someone she's not. I love how I drew her hair and her expression in this piece, and overall I am the most proud of the end result here. It really conveys her character in my eyes, and I love the overall composition of the piece. Now, I'm gonna end this off with some of my experiences for this challenge. I truly think that this challenge has helped me improve my style in many ways. Understanding how to draw something quickly will definitely help my art abilities in the future, as I feel as though before this challenge, I had the habit of taking too much time on an art piece. This helped me understand how sketches can be pivotal, but they don't have to be as specific as I used to make them. I think this challenge also really helped me with my ability to compose different positionings for the characters. The deeper that I went into this challenge, the more I attempted to work at making each of the pictures unique, to really show how the character feels. I think this experience is something that I can bring with me for the rest of my art journey. And if there are any other artists out there, just remember, a challenge like this can really help you improve on posing, coloration, line art, everything. I would highly recommend that anyone with the time give this a try. Even if I didn't finish, I had a ton of fun doing this. Never give up. Thank you for watching this video. I wish you all sweets and sugar in the midst of this pandemic. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now!